like sports? Do you like beer? Do you love sports and beer? Then you're exactly where you need to be. This is the Hueb, Views, and Brews show on 1252 Sports Chicago. Cheers.
How is everyone doing? Welcome back to Hueb's, Views, and Brews. Took the holiday off last Monday, but back today with tons of stuff to talk about. We got a little bit of baseball, got a lot of baseball actually to talk about as it's All-Star week. You got the Home Run Derby this evening on Monday night, the All-Star game, and then the second half of the season begins on Friday for both the Sox and the Cubs. We'll talk about that. We've also got some other things to talk about in baseball. We got some hockey to talk about. That's right. One of the longtime Blackhawks, no longer a member of the Blackhawks, as Duncan Keith leaves. A little bit of football, and then some football, some soccer stuff to get into, and then a lot of beer stuff. Okay, no guests today. I got a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of little things I'm going to rant and ramble about. So I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to get to it. Last time we did a show a couple weeks ago, we had Bruce Smiles on from the Daily Herald, formerly the Daily Herald, also from his new blog right in the so that you can get to his new blog at brucemiles.net. And we also had Charles St. Clair on from Black Horizon. Unfortunately, due to technical problems, we couldn't really talk to him. We've set up Charles for a couple of weeks from now, so we will get back to talk to him about Black Horizon. We have some Black Horizon news actually coming up a little bit later on in the second half, but we are still supporting our buddies, our pals over at Skeleton Key Brewing. And every single show I start with a beer. This is one of my favorites from Skeleton Key. It's called Don't Blink. It's a really, really good beverage. I've enjoyed a lot. Really good. It's a Scottish style ale. And I've always been a fan, even before I got into craft beer. I would drink Smittix and things like that. I was also a big Guinness guy and went over to Smittix. So you look at the way this pours. I mean, it's a nice caramely color. And obviously, as always, in my Showboat Saloon glass from the guys, Jesse and the guys over in the Wisconsin Dells. So if you get a chance to stop up there, I'm hoping to get up there in the next month or so and enjoy plenty of beverages at the Showboat Saloon. A great place, a place I love going to. But today, again, always thinking about our people, Paul and Emily Slayton from Skeleton Key Brewing, as they've got a couple more benefits coming up for Skeleton Key. You can always get to the GoFundMe page. You can find a lot of that information on my Facebook. And if you're watching me on Facebook right now, you know that you can find it there. Hopefully you've already done that. Let me take a sip of this before we go further. Yep, this is one of the 4-packs I bought right after the tornado and all the destruction that happened at Skeleton Key Brewing. I went over to Miskatonic Brewing a couple days later and picked up 4-packs of Skeleton Key beer. I've been enjoying that quite a bit. Also picked up some Hop Butcher from Orange and Brew, my guy Eric over there at Orange and Brew last week. So I've got beverages to drink, plenty of beverages. And it's a good thing because not a lot of baseball to watch this week. But as we get to the All-Star break, the best team in the American League plays on the south side of Chicago. The Chicago White Sox go into the break 54-35. They have the best win percentage in the American League. Right now, their percentage 607. That's better than the Red Sox in the East at 604. Better than the Astros in the West at 604. Yes, the White Sox have some bad teams in their division. They've been able to beat up the last 9 games. I think they've gone 6-3, okay, as they took on Detroit, Minnesota, and wrapped up the first half with the 3-game sweep with Baltimore. So Cleveland, Detroit, Minnesota, Kansas City, those are the teams in the White Sox division, and they are weak, and you have to win those games. But the second half starts on Friday, and the White Sox get the Houston Astros, the team that thumped them down in Houston. Dallas Keuchel talked about it the other day after he got a victory going 7 innings against Baltimore. He said, listen, we got to start beating the good teams, and that's what all White Sox fans are hoping for. White Sox start the second half of the season, 3 games with Houston. Then they have 4 hosting Minnesota. They go up to Milwaukee for 3 and in Kansas City for 4 before the trade deadline comes around July 30th. The Sox later on in August have the Yankees, the A's, Tampa, Toronto. That's going to be a very, very tough stretch from August 12th all the way through August 26th. Then they play the Cubs in a 3-game series. So it's going to be interesting. They also have a 3-game series with the Cubs at Wrigley Field, August 6th, 7th, and 8th. So after the All-Star break, the White Sox need to get things together. And they got more good news as Eloy Jimenez, who went to Winston-Salem, the Winston-Salem Dash. He played on Saturday and Sunday. He was supposed to play Friday. The game got rained out. He went 2 for 4 on Saturday. He ended up his 2 days going 3 for 7, scoring a couple of runs. He is then moved up to AAA Charlotte. Quick move after just a couple of games at High A Winston-Salem. And so the White Sox really looking forward to the return of Eloy Jimenez. Cannot wait till he gets back. But until he gets back, the guys that are filling in for him are doing one heck of a job. Andrew Vaughn with not 1 but 2 home runs against Baltimore in that final game on Sunday. Really nice, hitting the heck out of the ball. I said earlier in the year, I thought he was more of a gap guy, but we've seen the power that Andrew Vaughn can bring to the White Sox. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I've been enjoying the heck out of it. The other guy I wanted to mention was the guy that hit the home run in the 10th inning yesterday, and that's Adam Engel. Adam Engel is belting the ball. He's hitting the ball, and he's hitting it off right-handers, and that is very, very good to see. I've been saying for the last 2 or 3 years, all Adam Engel needed to do was hit 250 with the defense that he brings, and he'd be a great staple to be in the outfield. Now, when Eloy comes back and when Luis Robert comes back, you can actually have Andrew Vaughn in left, Eloy as a DH. In center field, you can leave Goodwin, or you can put Goodwin. I'm sorry, when Robert comes back, Robert will be in center field. And then Goodwin and Adam Engel can platoon in right field. Perfect situations. It looks like Lurie Garcia, who's playing a lot better at the bat and playing well in the field for the White Sox, looks like a guy that has solidified that job at second base right now in place of the injured Nick Madrigal. You still have Danny Mendick, who can fill in at second, short, and third. You got a bunch of different guys that can play first base. Couple of questions for Rick Hahn going into the trade deadline on July 30th. And they are, what do you need? Do you need a second catcher? Seby Zavala with a couple of hits, an error on a bad throw going into center field on Sunday. But he also is a guy that Dallas Keuchel and Lance Lynn have all said they really enjoy throwing to because he can frame the pitches well. He can bring in balls, make them strikes in the umpire's eyes. And until they get the automated strike zone, that's a huge thing. We all know that because that's the reason the White Sox spent the money to go get Yasmani Grandal. Grandal out with the injury. He's going to be gone for a while. It is going to need surgery, so they expect to have him back before the end of the season, but we don't know exactly what that means, how long. So if Seby Zavala shows he can hit the ball a little bit and play really good behind the plate, and the pitchers enjoy throwing to him, White Sox have the second best ERA of starters in the American League. They were 3.28, I think it was, going into Saturday or Sunday's game. So it's a good situation the White Sox find themselves in when you have a rotation with 2 guys at the All-Star game, Lance Lynn, Carlos Rodon. You throw in there Dallas Keuchel, who threw a nice game the other day against Baltimore. Lucas Giolito threw a little bit too many pitches on Saturday, but he did get the victory. And then you also have Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is still a guy that he gave up some runs early in the game on Sunday. He calmed down after that. He was doing okay. So the questions for Rick Hahn: do you need a catcher? Do you need a bat? Or do the White Sox need another reliever? Because Cody Hoyer still scares me. Aaron Bummer is supposed to be back when the White Sox begin the second half on Friday. Is that a good thing? Aaron Bummer has struggled. He's thrown well. He's thrown not so well. Matt Foster came in on Sunday because Jorge Ruiz could not finish off the Orioles after the White Sox took the 3-run lead into the bottom of the 10th inning. So they ended up having to go to Matt Foster. Foster gave up a long fly ball to left that Billy Hamilton caught, and then a long fly ball with 2 men on base to center field that Adam Engel tracked down right in front of the 410 marker. So maybe the White Sox do need another reliever. Now, I know Cub fans are saying, listen, we'll give you Craig Kimbrell. You just got to give us some of your young guys. Craig Kimbrell is going to be here around for whatever team he goes to for the second half of the season, and that's it, or from the trade deadline on. His contract expires at the end of the season. He's not going to stick around, I wouldn't think. There's no reason, I think, for the White Sox to spend big players in a deal for Craig Kimbrell. We'll get to the Cubs in a second, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think the White Sox probably could use a 6th or 7th inning guy. That's all up to Rick Hahn. They've been busy, though, the last couple of days and the last couple of weeks, putting together, along with Nick Hostetler, the draft board for the White Sox. The White Sox picked 22nd in the first round of the amateur draft that was held on Sunday in Colorado, and they selected a 6'4" shortstop out of the state of Indiana named Colson Montgomery. Colson Montgomery, 19 years old, an old high school senior. He is supposed to go to Indiana, but when you get drafted 22nd in the first round of the baseball draft, you usually sign with the team. The White Sox looking at this guy. He likes playing the shortstop position. He's a big, tall shortstop, left-handed hitter. They compare him to, they always give comps. Compare him to Corey Seager. That would be nice, right? Yeah, Corey Seager's a nice comparison. So the White Sox grabbed a 6'4" shortstop, and he likely wouldn't be up here ready to play in the big leagues till 2023, 2024. Tim Anderson's deal runs all the way up to that. So the White Sox with some nice moves. They've also drafted some nice guys on Monday, but the baseball draft is so much different than the NFL draft, the NBA draft. It takes a long time before you see these players, if you see them at all. And usually first rounders, you expect to hit on some of those. And the White Sox have done pretty well when you look at the first rounders that they have on their rosters. So hopefully Rick Hahn, Nick Hostetler, and the guys in the White Sox Brain Trust did some good drafting. The White Sox also officially released Adam Eaton, as Eaton was designated for assignment the other day. They could not make a deal for Eaton, so they released him. So Adam Eaton, the left-hander, going elsewhere for the second half. Maybe he turns up in Atlanta because Atlanta loses Acuna Jr. With an ACL tear. Terrible for the Atlanta Braves. The Braves right now in third place in the NL East. They're one game under 500, but only 4 games back in the Mets in the East. So you would think that Atlanta is going to try to go for it and pick up an outfielder. I don't know if Adam Eaton is exactly what fits their bill for an outfielder trying to replace Ronald Acuna Jr. So the White Sox with an 8-game lead, best record in the American League, and 4 players at the All-Star game. You have Liam Hendriks, who gave up another home run when he was in the 9th inning trying to shut down a 4-2 lead, and then Trey Mancini went deep. If anybody hits a homer off you, I don't mind it being Trey Mancini, a kid who battled colon cancer, came back from stage 3 colon cancer to play this year. He's participating in the Home Run Derby, one of the good feel-good stories in Major League Baseball. That's a very, very cool thing. But Liam Hendriks at the All-Star game, Carlos Rodon at the All-Star game. And if you're listening to this on Monday and you'd like to hear from Carlos Rodon, I'm going to be on filling in for Carmen DeFalco on ESPN 1000 on Tuesday from 10 until 12. And I'll be with John Yurkovic. Yurko, we have a chance to talk to Carlos Rodon tomorrow. So mark it down. You can listen to us on ESPN 1000 or on high def radio on the FM on 100.3 HD2. If in fact the newer cars have HD radio, so you can listen to us there. So Vaughn, Engel doing the job. Goodwin and Berger also doing the job. It's been great for the White Sox that they've been able to have guys come in, step up due to injuries, and produce. And they've been doing it. Lance Lynn at the All-Star game. Lance Lynn said something earlier today before they announced the starting pitcher for the All-Star team, and it's Shohei Ohtani. But Lance Lynn said Ohtani really doesn't deserve to be the American League starter, and I don't disagree with him. I understand it's a great story. Ohtani the pitcher, Ohtani in the Home Run Derby, Ohtani leading off for the American League. But as Lance Lynn says, he has half the innings pitched for all these guys. Quite a few people have better stats to have them as the starter for the American League, but the American League, and who knows, maybe Rob Manfred had something to do with it. They have Shohei Ohtani. It's all going to be an Ohtani couple days with the home run derby on Monday night, Tuesday, him starting and pitching and hitting for the American League. So we'll see how that all plays out. And if Lance Lynn and Liam Hendriks and Rodon get in, Tim Anderson was the guy that was added the other day. The White Sox were thrilled. Tim Anderson, his first All-Star game, and he deserves it. Goes into the break with a 12-game hitting streak. That's exactly what the Sox need. Now they need to get Abreu and, Moncada and Abreu right behind Anderson hitting the ball. So when Anderson's on base, they drive him home. So we'll see if they can get that done. Now let's turn to the Cubs. There was good news for the Cubs yesterday. Sunday, good news for the Cubs. Their Double-A Tennessee outfielder, Brennan Davis, hit 2 home runs in the Futures game. He was named the MVP of the Futures game. This is a guy people talked about in spring training, said he's a guy that's a year or so away. Well, the Cubs will need a guy that's a year or two away, and next year they'll probably see him. Maybe we get a chance to see Brennan Davis a little bit later in the year. 21-year-old, 6'4", 210 pounds, a guy that could hit the long ball as we saw on Sunday. Be a great guy to see in the outfield at Wrigley Field, and that's good news for the Cubs. The other good news for the Cubs also came from the MLB draft. The Cubs drafted Kansas State left-handed pitcher Jordan Wicks. And I was out for the afternoon, out for the early evening. I got to my TV just in time to see the 21st pick for the Cubs, the 22nd pick for the White Sox. That's the way to watch the baseball draft, believe me. So the 21st pick was the Cubs. They took Jordan Wicks, left-handed pitcher from Kansas State. This kid could not have been more excited to get up to there, put on the Cubs jersey, put on the Cubs hat. His high school coach, I think it was, or college coach, a big Cubs fan. So he was looking forward to, he's excited. And a lot of the scouts have said he's the most ready pitcher to come out of the draft this year. You got a left-hander. Some people said he's the best lefty out of the draft. So maybe we get a chance to see him maybe go late in the season if you want him to. Just a little peek to see how he does. Otherwise, very, very soon coming up and pitching in the Cubs rotation. So that was good news. Other good news for the Cubs is that Matt Duffy and David Bodie are going to begin minor league rehab assignments this week. The Cubs can use all the help they can get as their plummet from first place has got them all the way down to a tie with the St. Louis Cardinals for third in the division, 8 games behind Milwaukee and 4 back of the Cincinnati Reds. It's been a rough couple of weeks. Wilson Contreras talking out about the team, saying that they're not giving the effort. The other day, he calls out the team a lack of effort. David Ross disagreed. He said the effort's there. That's not the problem right now. Whatever the problem is, the Cubs suffered a terrible run right there. They went from tied for first place all the way down to 4th place in the division. And you listen to what Jed Hoyer said earlier last week. He said, when your playoff chances get into single digits, you know it's time to be making some moves. And it looks like that's what the Cubs are going to end up doing. So, yeah, that's a little bit of the Cubs. When they start the second half, I said they have 6 of their first 10 games against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona is 40 games below 500. They're 26-66. They have the worst record in Major League Baseball. They have a .283 win percentage, and the Cubs open up the second half at Arizona. Then they go to St. Louis to play a 4-game series with the Cardinals. Then they come home to play the Diamondbacks for a 3-game set. So as a Cub fan, you may be looking at that and say, listen, a nice way to start the second half. Take 2 from the Cardinals, take 5 out of 6 from the Diamondbacks. Be a nice way to get that second half started, maybe get some good things, and maybe have some excitement back at the friendly confines in the second half of the season. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Shohei Ohtani because Ohtani is going to be the starter for the American League. He's also going to be leading off and hitting for the American League. And he's been pretty darn amazing if you look at him. He's been putting balls as far away as you can. He hit the 3rd deck in Seattle. Something interesting about Shohei Ohtani. And maybe it ties in a little bit with what Joe Madden did with the Cubs when he was here. Joe Madden always had that American Legion week where he told the players, listen, don't come in until about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Come in, get your uniform on, and we'll go on out and play. Don't worry about batting practice or anything. Shohei Ohtani, with his 32 or 33 home runs here already in the first half, has not taken batting practice all season long. That's right, no BP all year long. He's been doing all this without taking batting practice. So it shows you the importance or the lack of importance of batting practice for major leaguers. These guys wake up, they roll out of bed hitting the ball, okay? That's what they do. And when they're hitting well, like Shohei Ohtani is, he doesn't need batting practice. He just gets to the ballpark, does his warm-ups, does his exercises. If he's not pitching that day, grabs the bat, walks up to the plate, and blasts one out of the ballpark. It's great to see. He is maybe the face of Major League Baseball right now. I know there's been a lot of controversy earlier today. Stephen A. Smith from ESPN saying, how can you have the face of Major League Baseball, a guy that doesn't speak English? You know what? Major League Baseball needs someone to be the guy that people are going to come to baseball to watch. Right before the show started, I saw a big Players Alliance that has been doing a lot of things in the neighborhoods, trying to get and spread the word of baseball to some of the smaller and more needed areas in big cities. That's great. You need to get the kids involved and interested in baseball. And that's the way the future is going to roll. When you watch the All-Star game, look at the number of juniors you have. Fernando Tatis Jr. You got Vlad Guerrero Jr. You had Ronald Acuna Jr. These are guys who's, except for Acuna, you've got Tatis, his father played. You have Bo Bichette, whose father Dante Bichette played. So basically right now you have the fathers of, you have the sons of guys who played in the big leagues, and they are right now playing so well in Major League Baseball, and it's a good thing to see. So Shohei Ohtani, it's weird because before Shohei Ohtani, you've got an injured Mike Trout, and people said it sucks that the face of baseball is Mike Trout, and he's out in California. We don't get a chance to see him unless you're watching him on highlights. Well, that's the way a lot of the younger people watch baseball now, is they just watch the highlights. They watch the clips of home runs, the clips of big plays and things like that. But it would be nice to be able to see Shohei Ohtani more often. No doubt in the second half of the season, probably anytime the Angels get a chance to play against an Eastern Conference team, or maybe they kick up a game and make it a 6 o'clock start instead of a 9 o'clock start on the West Coast, so they can showcase a Shohei Ohtani as he continues his unbelievable season with the Los Angeles Angels. One other thing in baseball before we get on to other stuff, and like I said, I got a lot of other stuff to get into. 42 years ago today, July 12th, 1979. I know a lot of people out there said, I wasn't even a sparkle in my parents' eyes. Heck, I didn't even have parents yet. They weren't even married. They hadn't even met yet. Well, I was living in my mother's house. It was 2 years before I got married. And you look at it, and I'm watching the White Sox game. It's a doubleheader. And between games of the doubleheader, Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer from The Loop, 97.9, were going to blow up disco records in center field. They had everybody bring a disco record, and 99 cents got them into the ballpark. They had 44,000 people. They literally had people scaling down the foul poles. A riot broke out. The records blew up. Kids ran onto the field. Second game had to be called off. Disco Demolition was amazing. Okay. And I'm watching and listening to some people, and they said, well, Disco Demolition, which really was very racist and homophobic. That was the first time I had ever heard anybody say that. Maybe I'm lost, but that never came up. It came up because disco sucked. Okay. I graduated high school in 75. Disco was 75, 76, 77. It was still there at 78 and 79. And it was brutal, especially for rockers like me. I was big into Aerosmith and Rush and Elton John, Chicago, but they weren't disco. And then disco all of a sudden was all over the airwaves. So Steve Dahl led trying to get rid of disco. And I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've heard about it. But that was 42 years ago today, as Steve Dahl, Gary Meyer blew up those records at Comiskey Park, and it was a wonderful sight. What happened afterwards wasn't a wonderful sight. And just think about it. You bring records in, people were flipping records, and it was like Frisbees going through the outfield. And it was a very, very scary thing. Not something you'd like to ever see happen again. Some people have said that the White Sox should never have done a promotion like that because a couple weeks before that, Cleveland had done a dime beer night or nickel beer night, one of the two. And there was also a problem that night. You think giving people beers for a nickel or a dime? Heck, we used to have quarter beer night at a little place called Misfits on 25th Street. Hold on, I got to take another sip of the beer because you got to hear this story. So at Misfits, it was quarter beer night, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Tuesday from 8 to 10, Thursday from 8 to 10. So my buddies, Larry Griffin, Bob Goodell, Steve Cesario, Kerry Fodorero, all my buddies, we'd get there. I probably left one out, Bob Liptek. We would get to Misfits at 10 minutes to 8, 7:50. We'd buy a beer. Maybe they charge us whatever, $1.75, whatever it was. Then at 8 o'clock, quarter beers. And we would drink quarter beers for 2 hours. And at about 9:50, we would put a couple dollars on the tray and get a tray full of beers. And that would last us till 11 o'clock. This is back in the day. I don't suggest you do this now, kids. But yeah, it was a good time. Quarter beer night. So I can't even imagine at a ballpark with 40,000 people. Or it was Cleveland, so they probably had 10,000 people making nickel or dime beer night. But yeah, that was well before my time. Was not able to drink back in 79. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. I was, because I was one of the fortunate ones that we were able to drink beer at 18 and did not have to register for the draft. That was the first year they had no registration for the draft, drinking beer at 18. And then when I turned 21, they changed it then. It's like, okay, beer is back to 21. So me and my buddies, all the guys I just mentioned, we were fortunate to have many, many things to enjoy. And we did. We enjoyed it as often as we can. So 42nd anniversary of Disco Demolition. Got a lot of other stuff. I got some soccer, some football, a sad thing I got to mention. We'll do all that right after a quick word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
Jonathan Darren, also the people over at Nick and Ivy, big sponsors of not only my show, but also all the shows over on the 1252 Sports Chicago Network. We appreciate all of their support. And if you're watching and you would like to be a sponsor, don't hesitate to get in touch with any of us. We'll be more than happy to get you set up. And we are growing. We're continuously growing. We got some ideas for fantasy football coming up. Got a lot of other things going on in the works. So cannot wait. I know I was watching the Grobstein and Schuster Express a little bit last night, and our guy Fat Mike jumped on with them talking about things like that. So a lot to do here, lots of action coming up on the 1252 Sports platform. And you can always get to us. You can see us on YouTube TV, Twitch.tv, also the day after our shows on Spotify. And as of now, you can be watching us on Facebook. Heck, I'm looking right here and watching me on Facebook right here on my little iPad. Before I get into some of the other sports, every once in a while you have sad stories. You have sadness. And in today's world, there seems to be sadness around the corner each and every day. And yesterday, I was on my iPad, and someone contacted me and let me know that a guy that I consider a friend had passed away in his sleep on Saturday night. Dino Taberry was a guy that the first time I met him, he was doing a Harry Carey impersonation, and we had him on the score when I was working on the score with Mike North. And Dino was one of the best, if not the best, Harry Carey impersonators, and just a great all around guy. Um, Dino was better than so many of the other ones. He would send videos over on Facebook and on Twitter sometimes of being at Cubs games, and he'd have the big glasses on and everything, and he'd be sitting there going, "Oh boy, it's another." And I'm doing a bad Harry Carey impersonation, but just to let you know what he would say. Another bad one for the Cubby, and he would cut off the S's like Harry would do and things like that. Oh, the Philly, they're just beating up on the Cubs, and this was just one little part of Dino. He was such a great guy and such a nice person. Anytime you saw him, you always felt a little bit better seeing Dino. And he passed away on Saturday night. And our condolences to Dino's family. Just a great, great guy. And like I said, a lot of the people, Lynn Bramer from XRT contacted me today. Lynn, a big Cub fan, he'd run into Dino numerous times. Grant DePorter put on a really nice tribute to Dino on Facebook earlier today. Grant DePorter, who runs Harry Carey's restaurants. Dino would head on over there for some of the Harry Carey toasts that they would do each and every year. But yeah, it's a very, very sad thing. Dino passed away well before his time. I would see him when my wife was working at Hinsdale Central. I would go on over there for basketball games, and Dino was there working at the scorer's table, keeping score, doing some things, running the clock, whatever they needed him to do. And I'd run into him at other places too. He knew some of the coaches of basketball, so a lot of people are missing Dino Taberry. And I know if you ever heard his Harry Carey impersonation, it probably stuck with you because he was one of the better ones and just a great, great guy. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned and gave everybody the condolences for Dino Taberry. Just a wonderful guy. The Blackhawks with 3 Stanley Cup championships. You knew eventually guys had to start leaving. Brent Seabrook leaves. Marian Hossa gone. I know he wasn't there for all 3, but Duncan Keith traded earlier today. The defenseman had actually asked for a trade, wanted to go to Western Canada because he has a son playing hockey, a younger son, and he wanted to get back out there and see his son and maybe even help coach his son. So he gets traded from the Blackhawks out to the Edmonton Oilers for defenseman Caleb Jones, from what I read, a 5th or 6th defenseman on a good team, and also a 3rd-round pick in the draft. And the last several years, even when Duncan Keith got named to what was it, 75? Was it the top 75 players or whatever it was? The last several years, Duncan Keith has really fallen. And I understand he was there for the championships, but it seemed like his play had fallen a notch. He was always there, always putting in a lot of ice time. I thought in the last year or so, actually last year, and then in the shortened season last year, he had some really good games and helped out. But over the couple of years before that, after their 3 titles, boy, he was worn out, even more so than Kane or Taves and things like that. And he was one heck of a player for the Chicago Blackhawks, a great, great defenseman, a guy that loses some of these numbers. 2nd most games played in Blackhawks history, 2nd most points by a defenseman in Hawks history, 3-time Stanley Cup winner, 2-time Norris Trophy winner, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, the 2015 Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Just a great, great thing. And he moves on like everybody has to. You either move on or you stay with the team forever. And I think the Blackhawks taking that next step, taking that step into the youth movement, moving a guy like Duncan Keith can only be a good thing for the future of the organization. So a little bit of hockey, a little bit of football news, okay? Chicago Bears getting back to camp very, very soon, in about a week, maybe even later this week as they get back. The training camps begin. And They will begin selling tickets for Family Fest. Family Fest is coming up on August 3rd at Soldier Field, but they will begin selling tickets on Tuesday, July 13th at 10 o'clock. Tickets are, through their website. It'll be tomorrow. I don't have an exact time. Oh, 3 o'clock. I'm sorry. Can't read my own scribble. The Bears will begin selling tickets for Family Fest held on August 3rd at Soldier Field on Tuesday, July 13th at 3 o'clock. Tickets are $10 available through their website. Reminder, Family Fest has gone from being held on a Saturday afternoon to 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, which is a little strange. And they're not going to be in Bourbonnais anymore. We know that for training camp. They are selling tickets, or at least having tickets available to 1,000 people for the scrimmages and practices up at Hallis Hall that will be available to the public. So you can go to the Bears website and find out more about that. Now, some soccer stuff before we get to beer. And speaking of beer, let me take another slug of this Don't Blink from Skeleton Key. Okay. I know there are some people out there that are not soccer fans. My brother Timmy watches the podcast here, and every once in a while he goes, "Oh, you're talking soccer. I don't want to listen." And I know none of my friends are big soccer fans. I was going to a Fire game a couple of weeks ago. My girlfriend Linda, she said, "Don't any of your friends like soccer?" And I said, "No, none of my friends do." I've got a good realtor friend, Joe Kenny, who I went to the soccer game last week with, as the Chicago Fire won. It was a nice win for the Chicago Fire last week. That was nice to see. But anyway, the Euro 2020 final was on Sunday, and England had a chance. England was in their first cup final in 55 years. In 1966, England won the World Cup. In 1996, they did a song in England. A rock group did a song called It's Coming Home. The song was a little bit of a parody because it's coming home, football's coming home, the championship's coming home to England. But for 30 years, they hadn't won. And they said, "Oh, there's a lot of jokes, a lot of snickering. We're going to blow it again, and we're going to lose it again." But they all remembered the good times in 1966. So yesterday was a chance for England to snap out of it, to get a victory in a cup final, a Euro Cup final or a World Cup final. This was a Euro Cup. The World Cup is next year. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And they scored a goal 2 minutes into the game. Luke Shaw with a ball. He puts it past the Italian goalkeeper, and it's 1-0 England. 2 minutes into the 90-minute game. But then in the second half, Italy scores. No scoring in the extra time. They go to penalty kicks. And in the penalty kick section, 3 minutes before PKs start, during the second part of the extra time, the England coach, Gareth Southgate, he puts in two youngsters, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho. I was actually watching the game at a place called Finn McCool's up in Schaumburg. And I turned to the people I was with. I said, "They're putting them in just for penalty kicks. This game's going to go to PKs, and they're going to use those guys as penalty kick takers." What happened was there was a miss. Harry Kane made his. But the last 3 penalty kicks taken by England were Rashford, who hit the net, and then 2 youngsters, still in their teens, Jadon Sancho and Saka, the guy who got the start for England. And they both missed. As a result, Italy wins the Euro 2020 final. And unfortunately, the people in England are taking it to these 3 youngsters who missed the kicks because they were black. They didn't miss the kicks because they were black. They're being gone after because of being black. And it's just so disgusting. Something that soccer has been dealing with forever is racism. Before the game, both the England squad and the Italian squad took a knee, saying there's no reason for discrimination or racism of any kind in soccer. Both sides taking a knee. And after the game, some of the English fans just being so ridiculously brutal to these 3 young players. And it was sad. It was very, very, very sad. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho will both be playing on Manchester United. Luke Shaw, who scored the goal from Manchester United. So they all missed. England's going to have to wait a little while. Maybe they can go next year and win in the World Cup. Maybe they have a chance. They have a better team. Maybe they need better attack. Some of these older players, maybe. I'm looking at my phone right now because I put in here the dates for the World Cup next year. Now, the World Cup usually is the World Cup's every 4 years, the European Championships every 4 years. Now, the World Cup includes everybody around the world. Duh. The European Championships just include countries in Europe. Sounds simple, right? So they always have the European Championships every 4 years, but it's staggered, kind of like the Summer and Winter Olympics. Okay. So last year was supposed to be, you wonder why I say the Euro 2020 Championship. Well, it was supposed to be last year, but even though it was played this year, they called it the 2020 Euro Championships. So next year is the World Cup, and it's played in Qatar or Qatar, however you want to say it. It's been pronounced both ways. It's going to be next year from November 21st to December 18th. So the final of the World Cup will be December 18th. You might say, why are they changing it from June and July? Because tournaments are always usually the middle of June to the middle of July, like this one was, the Euro Championships. Well, once FIFA decided that Qatar would be the host country, Qatar is way too hot in the summer to host a World Cup. So they are hosting it in the fall, November to December, so fall, winter. And one of the things they thought about doing, Qatar has so much money. The countries, they were working on artificial clouds that would hover above a stadium and send air conditioning down. And they couldn't get that figured out in time. So they have moved it, which is going to change all of the schedules for European soccer all around the world. Actually, soccer all around the world, not just European soccer. The United States is the only country that plays soccer on the schedule they do. Mexico a little bit also. They play in 2 half seasons. But it's going to be strange. So maybe England next year can, bring it home. Maybe they can bring the World Cup home, and it's coming home could actually happen, that a championship could come to England. In my opinion, I hope it's Germany. But Germany didn't make the finals this year. They got ousted by England. So not exactly what we were looking for. So anyway, now I get to some beer stuff. And that's what a lot of people are jumping on in for. I know, 42 minutes before I get into the beer talk. But there's a lot of beer talk coming up. And a lot of it is what's going on right now. Okay? If you're a beer fan, you may have heard of Beer Under Glass. Beer Under Glass is an event that would always kick off the start of Craft Beer Week in the city of Chicago. Well, it wasn't around last year or the year before. Actually, it wasn't around last year because of COVID. It was there the year before. It's coming back. On Friday, August 27th, Garfield Park Conservatory, the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild is putting on Beer Under Glass. BUG is the abbreviation for it. You can get your tickets. Tickets, I think, are $75. There's 2 sessions, 3 to 6, and I think 7 to 10. On Friday at the Garfield Park Conservatory, you can go to illinoisbeer.com, and the tickets go on sale July 23rd. It's a wonderful event. I know, $75 seems a little expensive. It's a wonderful event. I've been there a couple times, and just such a great place to have it. The conservatory, you get wonderful flowers. You get when it doesn't rain. It rained one of the years, and that was not wonderful. But great place, great beer, great people. First time I ever saw Hop Butcher, Jude LaRose. The first time I saw those guys, I walked in to the Beer Under Glass, and the first people I saw was Jude right there as they were just releasing Hop Butcher and just starting to brew it. And it was very tasty then. And look at what's happened years from now. Now they're getting their own brewery, taking over for Half Acre. Okay. That's one. Got a couple anniversaries I wanted to mention. Not my anniversary, but anniversaries for breweries. Okay. Goldfinger Brewing, one of my favorites. Tom and his wife, they do a great job with Goldfinger Brewing in Downers Grove. The lagers they're making, they've got a Polish beer that they're working on, and they're going to have it for the 1 year. I think they're going to have it for the 1 year anniversary celebration, which comes up Saturday, July 31st. Cannot wait to get there. I work a lot on Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes I don't get out. I'm going to try and make sure I get to Goldfinger that day. So that's the first anniversary for Goldfinger. Black Horizon Brewing, which I mentioned, Charles St. Clair, who I was supposed to have on a couple weeks ago. We tried. Technical problems prevented us from doing that. The 4th anniversary for Black Horizon Brewing, that's coming up this Saturday. This Saturday, July 17th. Special beer tappings, new beer releases. They have a barrel-aged Black is Beautiful. They also have a barrel-aged Belgian beer that's going to be there. So you can't beat it. A couple of bourbon barrel-aged beers for the 4th anniversary for Black Horizon Brewing. I'm going to try and get there if they're open later, if the White Sox play a quick game. I'm doing White Sox pre- and post-game this coming Saturday night on ESPN 1000. So if I can get out of there in time, I can make a quick stop before the doors close at Black Horizon for their 4th anniversary. That, again, is Saturday, July 17th. Another event coming up on July 17th, Summerfest. Now, it's a Summerfest. They got music, they have beer, they have food. It is at the Noon Whistle in Lombard. Noon Whistle in Lombard coming up Saturday, July 17th. So you can make a whole day out of it. Go to Noon Whistle for their celebration of Summerfest. Go to Black Horizon for their celebration of the 4th anniversary of Black Horizon. Be a perfect day. Beer drinking. How much better can it get? Now, I mentioned my buddies, my pals over at Skeleton Key Brewing. The Don't Blink, the Scottish style ale, which I'm enjoying today, which I'll have to take another one. I'm talking so much, don't have guests, I don't get to drink as much. So I'll likely have more guests next week. We're still trying to support our friends over at Skeleton Key Brewing. And there's a couple of events coming up. Let me see. Are they back-to-back days? No, they're the same week, though. There's an event coming up Monday, July 26th, from 3 in the afternoon till 10 o'clock. Skeleton Key Brewing Strong Relief Benefit at Miskatonic Brewing. The details are being finalized right now. You can check it out at Miskatonic Brewing at their website, at the Skeleton Key website. It's all over Facebook. If you're a beer fan, you know where to go. The information, again, Monday, July 26th from 3 until 10, a benefit for Skeleton Key Brewing. And then on Friday, July 30th, a live rock show with The Relevant and Primal Moon at Metal Monkey in Romeoville. If you haven't been to Metal Monkey, it's just off Route 53 in Romeoville. You got to stop there. I've only stopped once. I got to get back out there. They make great beer. Tickets are $10 for the benefit. It's all benefiting the people over at Skeleton Key Brewing. So that will be wonderful. Get on out there. A couple of ways to benefit and support your buddies, your pals, your beer makers over at Skeleton Key Brewing after the tornado just ripped their place apart. And we cannot wait until better things happen. I know they're brewing some of their stuff at other breweries. And as we go along, we'll talk more about that. A couple other baseball notes. And I'm also going to have usually at this time of the show, and I think I have one. We always have a little segment we like to play here called What's Up, Fred's Can?
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
Ugly? You gotta be kidding me.
Time for What's Up Fred's Can on 1252 Sports Chicago.
And what's up my can today is a lot of times people will say, you're in sports, you have to watch everything, don't you? I said, not if you play your cards right, okay? I don't watch any Wimbledon. I have not watched any of the NBA finals. I can get enough recaps if I really need to watch. I don't care. I'm looking forward to the Bulls. I'm looking forward to the Blackhawks. I'll watch the Bulls. I'll watch hockey. But don't tell me I need to be up on everything just because I work in sports radio. You got to be able to know how to figure things out, how to get to do. Otherwise, you'd be watching TV nonstop, constantly, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. You would not be able to go anywhere. And if you work Monday through Friday, never leave the house, never have a social life. Plus, there are a lot of people that don't care about a lot of things. You wonder why in sports radio we talk about baseball, football, and then basketball and hockey. Okay, usually it's football and then baseball. Okay, baseball's a longer season, football's shorter, but football can be talked about year round pretty much with free agency, also with the draft and everything else. But we talk about the things that the people love the most. And tennis, golf, I know you may like to play those sports. There's no reason for me to watch them. And I don't. I saw that Djokovic won Wimbledon. Congratulations. I know there's a big golf tournament coming up, the Open Championship. Made a few wagers on it on my Bet Rivers app, but I don't care to sit and watch it. I can watch it if I have to. And the Olympics are coming up. So we're going to get situations where there's going to be a lot of people. Yesterday, for example, Nigeria beat the USA basketball team, and everyone's shocked. How can that happen? How can Nigeria beat the U.S. men's basketball team? Listen, sports can always be changed, and when Nigeria plays the USA or anybody plays the USA, they get up to play. I was listening to PTI, pardon the interruption, earlier today. Apparently, in 2012, I think it was, the USA beat Nigeria by 83 points. That's right, 83 points. Yeah, I'm not into the Olympics. I'm not into – everybody can enjoy what they want. You want to enjoy the gymnastics. You want to enjoy swimming. You want to enjoy javelin throwing. I think javelin catching would be a better sport. But you want to enjoy any of those, you go right ahead. But there's no reason for me to have to watch them just because they're the Olympics. You can enjoy any sport you want. I love soccer. I will be watching soccer in the Olympics. There's baseball in the Olympics. I may watch some of that if I can find it, because they have a lot of veterans playing. That's right. Not only young kids, but also Todd Frazier's playing. Edwin Jackson, the former White Sox and Cubs pitcher, I'm pretty sure, is playing in the Olympics. So just because I'm on sports radio and I do love sports, my love for sports is very, very particular. I love baseball. I love soccer. I love American football. And further down, it's basketball and hockey. I do watch the Bulls. I do watch the Blackhawks. That's part of my job. But watching the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning is not part of my job. Don't need to. Okay? We do Chicago sports radio. We talk about Chicago sports. And if they're not playing, I feel no need to watch them. Some people may disagree. That's fine. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you at any time. And there's a couple of things in baseball I want to get to really quickly, because these are probably things you did not hear about in baseball that happened on Sunday in Major League Baseball, the last day before the home run derby and the All-Star break. Right-hander Pablo Lopez set a Major League record. First of all, who's Pablo Lopez? I don't know. I know a lot of Major League players. I don't know Pablo Lopez. He's a pitcher for the Miami Marlins. The Marlins beat the Braves 7-4 yesterday. Pablo Lopez, on the one-year anniversary of his father's death, he set a Major League record by striking out the first 9 batters to start the game. That's right. He struck out the first 9 guys to start the game. You figure it's a National League game, so the 9th guy is the pitcher. Now, he broke the mark of 8 strikeouts to begin a game, set by former Cubs announcer currently, and former Astro Jim DeShays in 1986, and matched by Jacob deGrom in 2014 and German Marquez in 2018. Now, think about it. If they both struck out 8 guys to start the game, I would hope they didn't start pitch. I was hope they pitched against American League teams, because otherwise, Jim DeShays, Jacob deGrom, and German Marquez both gave up hits or ground outs or didn't strike out the pitcher. So, a record for Pablo Lopez yesterday. And one more thing, and I don't do this on purpose, one more thing to make Cub fans upset. And if you're a Chicago fan, you should be upset. Yesterday, Cincinnati Reds, a tie-breaking 2-run single off Josh Hader with 2 outs in the 9th to lift the Cincinnati Reds, who took 3 out of 4 over the Brewers to pull within 4 games in Milwaukee. Who was that player that did that? Well, he's playing the outfield for the National League All-Stars in the All-Star game on Tuesday night. It's Nick Castellanos, a guy that should have been kept by the Chicago Cubs. I don't know where the Chicago Cubs are going with their rebuild, even though they don't want to call it a rebuild. I'm not sure where they're going. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but it's not going to be right around the corner. It's not going to be a year or two for the Chicago Cubs to build up a team to challenge in the National League. It's going to be a lot longer than that. And I hope you Cub fans out there can last and support this team and Jed Hoyer, or at least get mad at them and tell them they're not doing the right thing. Because after not signing Castellanos and letting him go elsewhere, and then trading Darvish and Caratini, and now you're going to lose probably not only Chris Bryant, but you could lose Baez. Who knows what's going to happen with Rizzo? I understand your guy, Theo Epstein, won you a World Series, but also Theo never was able to sign these guys early. He leaves Jed Hoyer to take and deal with everything he's got to deal with. We're trying to sign these guys or replace them. Theo got out while the getting was good. And with that, I'll let you go for another week, another episode of Hueb's Views and Brews. Have a wonderful week. Not much baseball. You get the All-Star game on Tuesday, and then the Sox welcome in the Astros on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Cubs go to Arizona, play the worst team in baseball. It's a great way to start the second half of the season. Grab your beers, support Skeleton Key Brewing. Don't forget, you got the 4th anniversary of Black Horizon Brewing, and you've got the one coming up in a couple weeks, the 1st year anniversary of my guys over at Goldfinger Beer. So until then, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting all of the 1252 podcasts here on the 1252 platform. If you're watching us on YouTube or on twitch.tv, or if you're listening to us on Spotify, we appreciate it. We thank you very much. Talk to you next Monday. Thanks a lot.